Nobody wants a lawsuit. Everybody just wants justice, and to be able to get them justice without going through the whole process, it is great. And the people are pumped. They're very happy.
Joining us this morning is Mike Morse, Detroit's top attorney. Mike Morse is in here to tell us about the backpack giveaway.
Adapt, and change things up a little bit every year. Welcome to another episode of Open Mike. I'm Mike Morse here with Kevin Dietz and attorney Jim or James Wendt.
Let's not be formal here.
You like to be Jim?
Yeah.
So, Jim, just a quick side note. We had some time, and I've always wanted to interview you on this podcast, and I went by your office, opened the door, you were there. I'm like, come on, you're coming on the podcast for a few minutes. That's all the prep you have, true?
Yeah, that's true.
You have no idea what we're doing here.
None.
Did you even know we were doing a podcast?
No.
You didn't?
Well, we have some questions for you here.
Hook them up to the truth monitor. Jim, we're doing a podcast.
Great.
Called Open Mike, and we just had Tom Calcaterra on, and we're having some of our lawyers on. We're talking about all kind of things. But the reason I wanted you on is because you're one of our younger, more energetic attorneys who really, really care for our clients. You really, really hate the insurance companies, and all of that energy, makes for a great, great attorney. And but before we get into all that good stuff, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you went to school, how long you've worked here, why you went to law school, things like that.
So I went to Eastern Michigan University for my undergrad, and I always wanted to be an attorney. I just didn't want to incur all of the student loans. And I came out with a computer information systems degree, and I learned that there aren't a lot of jobs in Michigan doing what I wanted to do with that. And so I had options to move to California or stay, and I decided I'm going to stay, and I'm going to go to law school and do what I really want to do. And so I went to Wayne State for law school, and I shortly after I got out of law school ended up here through somebody who had actually interned here that I was good friends with at Wayne State, had recommended you guys, and things have been great.
How long have you been here?
I believe coming up on 9 years.
Holy moly.
I believe so.
So is this your first legal job?
My first true, pure legal job, yeah.
And one reason you love the job is not only you get to help really nice people get compensated every day, but you met your wife on the job. Is that true?
Yeah, I did meet my wife in this building.
So that's pretty fabulous.
It is.
Congratulations. You've only been married a year or less?
A little over a year.
Little over a year. All right. Well, congratulations. Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
So tell us what you love about being a lawyer.
I really just love helping the people. I love the interaction with the clients. I work in our pre-litigation stage of the cases, and it allows me just the opportunity to meet with all these people right after the accident in their worst days and really help them out of what's just an absolute disaster.
I think I want to just make a distinction for Kevin and for anybody else listening out there. We do that's unique that you're an attorney and you're handling cases before the lawsuit stage, and that is special. It's, like I said, unique, and you get to help work up the cases, help make sure all the T's are crossed, I's are dotted before a lawsuit is filed, or you're also excellent at settling cases before it goes into the lawsuit stage. So that's something unique. That's something you want to do, correct? I mean, that's something you like doing, the early initial stages of the case.
I love that part. It's the most efficient way to get our clients the money that they deserve, and there are opportunities to do that. And so we send out some demands to insurance companies, and we get people what they should get without all of the headache of that lawsuit.
People used to ask me when I was covering news, they'd always say, how can you, every day you go to a murder scene or some terrible accident or whatever, you're covering the news. And I would say one of my favorite parts of the job is you go in and these people are having the absolute worst day of their life. Something horrible has happened and they can't seem to get any information from the police, from a coroner maybe. They don't know how this happens, but because I see it over and over again, I kind of know what happens. And in addition to trying to cover the story, you're there and you're able to help these people, and they're so grateful. I mean, they just want to hug you and say, geez, I have no idea what I'm going to do. Thank you for walking me through this, And so I can see how in that area you get a lot of fulfillment out of that, even though it sounds like it would be really hard to come to work knowing that you're going to face people on their worst days. But it's great when you can help them.
So it's an interesting question. I mean, how do you not get down? How do you not get jaded in seeing this, a lot of the same injuries every day and day in and day out? I mean, what motivates you?
Well, I mean, there are definitely times of frustration dealing with these insurance companies that just outright just disrespect people, don't treat people right. I come in every day to fight those battles. I love fighting those battles because I see us win so much, and it's much easier to come in and make people's days, get people's wage loss paid, get them the compensation that they should be getting. To your point, I love the part of helping these people and seeing that happiness at the end of the day, without going through all of the things that they might have to go through. Avoiding a lawsuit is a big deal. Nobody wants a lawsuit. Everybody just wants justice, and to be able to get them justice without going through the whole process, it is great. And the people are pumped. They're very happy. I've been hugged by so many people, some that I didn't want to hug from. But
That's amazing, Jim, because, stepping back and really thinking about it, I mean, your tenaciousness does avoid lawsuits, and nobody wants a lawsuit. And if we do a good job pre-suit and the insurance companies are reasonable, which is a really hard thing to make these insurance companies reasonable, but what you do so well, Jim, and I see in your cases, and you have lots and lots of cases, is that you cross your T's and dot your I's and get every piece of paper needed to submit that demand, to submit that request for wage loss or household services or medical bills, that they can't not pay the claim. And in law firms out there who don't do their homework and don't do as good of a job as we do, as you do, submit half-assed paperwork. That's why there are so many lawsuits. But you do a good job of avoiding lawsuit because you're so prepared. The cases are so organized, and you have a nice way about you convincing the adjusters just to pay the claim. Or if you make me file the case, I'm going to go above what I'm asking you for right now, and we're going to squeeze you for attorney fees. We're going to squeeze you for interest. And I've seen you do that successfully so many times.
And I have a great team that helps too. We have great people on the litigation side. I have a tremendous support staff. There is a lot that goes into it. If it wasn't for all of us, I wouldn't be able to do what I do for these people.
Which insurance companies do you think are the worst ones to deal with these days in Michigan?
Auto owners, terrible for sure. State Farm has always been terrible. Farm Bureau, Farmers Insurance. There aren't many of them that are great.
Are there any that are easier to deal with, that respect their insureds more than the others? Any one that you can come up with that you like to deal with any more than the others?
That'd be a tough call.
Okay, I'm not going to make you stretch.
It makes it hard for people who are going out to buy insurance, though, if you say all of them suck.
No, well, it is. Like, I mean, who do you have on your cars?
I have Citizens. They're probably the one that I would say is probably.
And I've had Citizens in the past, and they seemed fine. Okay, that's good to know. So, tell me, one thing that we're trying to do on this podcast is to give some inside scoop for people to win their case, whether we're handling the case or another law firm's winning their case. What kind of advice would you give your family members if they were in a car accident, they had an attorney, to how to best deal with that attorney to put their best foot forward and get the most money they can get on their case?
I think the key is really to getting to a lawyer right off the bat from day one, and make sure that you start getting all your ducks together from day one. You want to line up all of your paperwork. There's so many things that we need early in the claim. We need damage photos. You want to make sure that you take those pictures
of the vehicles, of your body, bruises, of things like that.
All that stuff. And there's too many times where people just don't think of that, and that's not your first instinct. Is I need to line this stuff up. I need to get my claim together. But that is what you should be doing. And it's very hard, even when it comes to wage loss claims, for, it's not the days of we get a paycheck and then there is a check stub and everybody gets all this stuff electronic. You're not saving all that stuff. Rounding all that stuff up is very, very, very difficult. You have to communicate sometimes with your employer. Sometimes your employer is not going to be so interested in, let me hustle and get all this stuff together for you. So you want to start the day of that accident. If you know that you're hurt and you know that there's going to be some claims that you need to make, you got to pursue all this stuff. Get it all together.
What else? What else do clients need to share, and how do they need to interact with us?
Clients just have to be honest. Coming to your lawyer and being honest about things, it allows us to provide you the best advice possible. If you come to us and you give us part of the story or leave out things that might be important, you just got to come to us and give us everything. The better your communication, the better this process goes.
If they tell you about prior injuries, prior pain, prior accidents, prior crimes, how does that help you?
Credibility is your most important asset in these claims. There's no doubt about it. The best defense, I think, for the insurance company, because they usually don't have a good defense, the best defense is you're a liar, you're dishonest, nobody's going to like you. So if you're honest, that's huge.
So when someone comes in, do you give them a checklist that says, here, you need to go get this, and this?
Yeah, so I have a specific process after we do our initial review of the file with the client over the phone. We do send them out a whole list of things that we need from them. And during that first call, we do talk about all kinds of things, from what happened in the accident, medical history, what are your injuries, what treatment have you had so far.
What I'm wondering is there something like you could have, as a family, you talk before an accident ever happens? Like, do we know where to get these records and these records and these records? Do you have a little folder at home, that almost like, emergencies happen all the time, whether you have a fire in the house or, everything we have is in this lockbox. Like, whatever we do, somebody get the lockbox. That's where our birth certificates are. That's where our stuff is. I just wonder if any of this stuff should be thought of before an accident.
I kind of look at that like we should all have a will, but how many of us, I don't have a will as I sit here today. That's probably a bad thing.
Probably.
Don't
we're a trust.
Don't even ask Mike.
Oh, no. Kevin doesn't see doctors. Did you know that? He definitely doesn't see lawyers. Keep going. Are you?
Well, I'm just. So maybe there are some things people could do, but it's not likely that they're going to do anything until they need to do it.
Yeah. Nobody plans for this to happen. Nobody wants this to happen. And then once you're in the moment, it's all happening so fast. My car is wrecked. For many people, it's their only car. They don't have any other cars. And then the question is, well, now I have to go to the doctor. How do I even get to the doctor? I don't even have a car now.
Right.
And so they're worrying about some of those things. And when it comes to the documentation, then after the fact, oh my gosh, you got to get all this documentation together too. It's an overwhelming thing really, really, really quick. So there are some tools that we have to help them. We can send things out to their employer, for instance. We can make some calls, but sometimes that just doesn't do it. Sometimes they want to hear from their employee before they give us things. And it is a mess at the start, and we try to minimize that, simplify it so that it's easier for these people. But yeah, people could get stuff together.
Jim, when people call you right after a car accident, day 1, day 2, what's the advice you give them about their injuries and the pain that they're feeling, or the increase of pain that they're starting to feel in the days following the accident?
First and foremost, do whatever you have to do to get better. The best way to get better is always communicate with your doctors everything that's going on with you. Communication is the key. If your doctors don't know, it's very difficult for them to actually come up with a good treatment plan to address your specific concerns. Everybody's injuries are different. People come to these accidents, they get an accident, maybe a long medical history, maybe a short medical history, and all that stuff impacts the way these doctors seem to address people's concerns. So if you communicate all of the things to the doctor, it seems like the doctors do a great job. And there's a lot of great doctors in this area.
Don't you find sometimes when you're reading medical records 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months later that the clients are telling you that they're having pain here or it's related to this car accident, but the records aren't showing it?
Oh, many times.
So what do you, to fight against that, are you letting your clients know, make sure you complain of everything that's bothering you?
Correct. That's the only thing that you can do. And there's probably instances where they do say things that just don't end up in the records. That inevitably happens. Doctors are trying to dictate things after the fact. Doctors are rushed. But, still, when it boils down to the treatment, I think if people communicate the things, even if it doesn't make it into the records, I think people get the right care that they need.
We're taking questions from our viewers and from our listeners. One of the questions that we've gotten a few times already is, what is PLPD insurance? Do you want to take a stab at that, or do you want me to help?
Well, I mean, your PLPD coverage is just basically putting you in a situation where if your car gets wrecked, you don't have coverage for that. It's still going to cover your injuries. So it's going to cover you if you injure somebody else. That's your liability coverage. Your PIP coverage, your personal injury protection coverage, you will still have that. So basically it's just covering your state minimum coverages, what you have to drive a car.
You are absolutely right. It stands for personal liability and property damage. It's the basic minimums required by law. And that's what the term means. And we advise that you don't just get PLPD, and you get more coverage. So I tried to explain this to Kevin. I'm not sure he went back and looked at his deck pages.
Does it depend on if your car's only worth $500? Do you still want more than PLPD, or if your car's?
So that's a very good question. You want to take a shot at that one? What? You've been what? This is you.
You should absolutely have more than PLPD.
That's what I was going to say. So the liability, the minimum amount of liability these days is $250,000 per person, $500,000 per accident. We recommend you never have less than $500,000 and $1 million per accident. The amount is minuscule to go up. If you can afford more,
so it's not about the car at all. It's
about the car comes into effect whether or not how much collision coverage you want on the car. Okay, so that's a discussion you're going to have to make with your adjuster, or not your adjuster, your sales agent, whether or not how much is your car worth. So it's not really about that. We're talking about, if you're sued, if you hurt somebody, how much liability coverage do you have, as well as the uninsured and underinsured portions, which are key and critical portions.
Yeah, I don't know if that question gets asked enough when you're buying car insurance. I think more people think about, my car is now only worth this amount, so I don't care. I'll just basically self-insure. Right. If it crashes and it's gone, I'll get another one.
Right.
But you're saying there's other elements involved when you buy up.
Well, it's optional. Underinsured, which is, we call it a UM claim, or underinsured UIM claim, those are optional. So you don't have to have those. But we recommend people have at least $500,000 per person on that, if not more. And it's a very inexpensive thing. And what that means, Kevin, is if somebody hits you, they're driving drunk, they're texting and driving, they're distracted, they run a red light, and they don't have insurance, you can't sue them. There's nothing to get. Right. So you turn to your own insurance policy, and if you have $500,000 or $1 million in coverage, you can then sue your own insurance company, or your insurance company steps in the shoes of that negligent driver and pays you for your pain and suffering. Same thing for underinsured. If somebody hits you with a $50,000 policy and your injuries are worth $1 million, you got to protect yourself. Okay. So it's a very important thing to understand. It's a very important thing to know about. It's on our website. But, if you have only PLPD, what you really have is liability, property damage for out-of-state accidents. You have PPI for in-state accidents, and you have your PIP. You have your no-fault PIP. You may or may not have mini-tort coverage. You may or may not have the collision or comprehensive coverage, but that's you know, that's stuff dealing with car damage claims.
For a guy who hates insurance companies, you're bringing him a lot of extra business by buying bigger policies.
Well, yeah, insurance adjusters, I keep saying insurance adjusters, insurance agents at the Citizens and at these companies. You know, Jim, what's your opinion? Do you think that it's a good idea to ask your insurance agent what kind of benefits you should get, or should you go in informed and knowledgeable?
You really need to go in super informed, because many times they want to make sure that they're going to sell you a policy, and they feel more comfortable, I think, selling you something that is the most inexpensive thing possible.
I think it depends, right? I mean, you know, they probably make more money if they sell you a more expensive policy, but certain people go in and say, I want the cheapest policy out there, which is a mistake, especially with the new no-fault law. Nobody wants to take those inexpensive policies. You want to get at least $500,000. I'm advocating that everybody gets unlimited medical coverage when this comes into effect next. Well, it's already in effect. So next time you get your coverage, make sure you have unlimited medical. You should have high rates in UM and UIM that we just discussed. And I'm not sure what the agents are telling people. They should. The good agents are telling them to get good amount of benefits. That's to protect yourself, because nobody's expecting to get in an accident like Jim was talking about. But you want to have the best insurance available. But
when someone does get in an accident, the insurance company is hoping that they're underinsured.
Correct.
So, but their agents are pushing for bigger policies, or we don't really know.
We don't know. Hopefully they are. The new state
find out.
Find out. The new state liability minimum is the $250,000.
Right.
It's up from $20,000. But I think that they could still buy cheaper policies, but the default, they're calling it, is supposed to be $250,000. We will see. Time will tell. Have you been seeing bigger policies lately, Jim?
None at all yet. None at all yet. And all that apparently is going to kick in. They're going to start writing all these new policies, I guess, from what I've heard, July 1st.
So now you're seeing policies, people come in, and the negligent driver, the drunk driver, the texting driver has 50 policies or $100,000 policies, or even, God forbid, a $20,000 policy. And soon, hopefully, we're going to see only $250,000 of policies and above.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying.
I still think the biggest issue is the uninsured part of the deal, because there has to be probably close to a quarter of the accidents that cross my desk where the at-fault party doesn't have any insurance.
Right.
That's where that uninsured motorist coverage is critical.
Right. So for anybody listening out there, you want to make sure you have a robust uninsured motorist and underinsured motorist policy, which are very inexpensive policies, $30, $40 a year. So if you heard anything here, go look at your declaration pages. Call me if you have any questions. You know, something new that I'm going to announce right now, if you have a question about your insurance policy, if you don't know if you have enough, if you don't know if your policy is good enough, you could text me at 833-TXT-MIKE. That's how you get a hold of me, one way to get a hold of me, or it could be 855-MIKE-WINS, of course. But we will look at your deck pages. We will give you advice on that kind of stuff, because we want you to be protected out there. And the best way to protect yourself is with a good, robust uninsured motorist and underinsurance motorist policy. That is key. That is critical. And I think we should leave it on that note. What do you think?
That sounds good.
Jim, you're a pleasure to have here at the firm.
You want a hug?
Why are you going to lie to all these people?
No, I'm not lying. I get only good feedback about you. Your clients love you. You do a fantastic job. You're one of my best lawyers here. You're one of the leaders at the firm. Thank you for that. Thank you for working so goddamn hard.
Thank you.
And just, you know, keep up the great work.
Take the rest of the day off.
And let's not get crazy.
Go Blue.
Let's go. Go. That's a big game this weekend.
Big game.
Go Blue. You're not wearing your Go Blue shirt, though.
Hell yeah, I am.
Oh, there you are.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus.
Where's yours at?
It's blue.
That doesn't count.
All right. Until next time.
It was fun. Thanks.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks for watching Open Mic. I hope you've been enjoying the episodes. Please subscribe over here. Watch all the episodes, like the episodes, share the episodes, and subscribe. Subscribing helps me, and it helps get the word out. So do it. Enjoy the episode, share with your friends and family, and keep enjoying.